Here in Philly, there's a saying, no one likes us and we don't care. Generally used by Philadelphians when an out-of-towner is throwing shade. And while we are still enjoying warm weather outside, the team and I are reading one-star reviews of our public parks. And we're pushing back on the hate. It's Tuesday, August 19th. I'm Trenae Nuri, and here's some one-star reviews. We're giving one-star reviews. Okay, so yes, not everyone is a fan of Philly parks. We're going to go around the room, read some of these one-star reviews of Philly parks or spaces that we like to hang out at. And then we're going to see if these people are right or wrong with their reviews.
Let's do it.
Okay, this is what one Google review says about one of my favorite parks. Meh. That was it. That was the review.
I can't believe they took the time to write 3 letters in a review. You know what I mean? Like,
you took the time to log on, but you have nothing else other than meh.
Here's another review. Too much grass.
Please.
in Philadelphia, come on.
Too much oxygen.
Some of these parks need more grass. It's just dirt.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Okay, these people were giving Google reviews to Washington Square Park.
Oh my goodness. How do you say meh about Washington Square Park?
Listen, one of the reasons why I love this park so much is because it is like an exact clone of Rittenhouse Square with less people.
Mm-hmm.
It's quieter and it's peaceful. You almost forget you're in Philly. The traffic flows the same way where it's like you have to go around the square, around the park in a one-way direction, but there's plenty of benches that you can sit at, and there's not like a million people, selling art or juggling or, even cooking out. People get caught cooking out in Rittenhouse Square.
Yeah.
There's plenty of birds. Dogs are on leashes. The squirrels, they climb the trees. None of the animals bother you. I give Washington Square Park 5 stars.
Yeah, I agree. It's one of my go-to read a book in a park spots, for sure.
I love me some Rittenhouse Square, but I will say in terms of the trees, Washington Square Park has bigger, more majestic trees, and it is quite beautiful. So that person is wrong.
I will admit, at one point, the group chat bullied one of our friends for saying it was his favorite park in the whole city. Because we just thought, like, out of all the parks, that's your go-to. So I'll admit, I was kind of like that reviewer being like meh at one point. But I used to work around that area, and it was always nice to just take a nice little office break and just sit in like the park and walk around. And it's like you said, like, you get that taste of Rittenhouse without it being too busy. And I definitely miss that feeling of just being able to like take a breather around there. But it's not completely sleepy either. Like, I know Dessert Before Dinner has been doing craft pop-ups at least once a month there. And that does draw a sizable crowd of people who just want to like do arts and crafts with new people. So it's a nice way to activate the park differently.
And there's great restaurants around there and coffee shops. PJ Clark's, Need Bagels, Tallulah's Daily, Tallulah's Garden. Go to Washington Square Park, people. All right, Matt, what's on your list?
So I discovered a cool little park a couple of weeks ago up in Franklin Town. We're familiar with this neighborhood. It's like right by Community College of Philadelphia. It's like north of the Barnes. And I was just walking, discovered this park. I never knew it was there. It's called Matthias Baldwin Park. And it's small, has people hanging out on benches, tall grasses and shrubbery that's unusual for the city. And then 9 clusters of large vertical rock formations, which are just like really cool and unusual. You can look at those and you have the skyline in the distance. They have this curvy terrace in the center. Very unusual park. Apparently been around for decades. I looked it up afterwards, obviously. I'm really curious about it. And I found out they have a friends group and they have cleanups and a movie night. But then I looked at the Google reviews and here they go. The 1-star reviews were, looks to be an animal dog friendly park, period. Like the guy saw a dog. Like, of course there's a dog. It's in a park in Philadelphia. Also, a lot of the bad reviews seem to be about dogs, and then the other bit was about weed. So one 1-star review was, young college kids hangout, weed heads. First of all, weed heads is a choice. I thought that was a funny word instead of potheads. Also, people smoke weed in every damn park in the city. People smoke weed in Rittenhouse Square on the regular. So I don't think that was a fair criticism of the lovely little Matthias Baldwin Park.
I feel like they're just really stretching a reason for negativity there. Like, it's just such a beautiful spot. It's like, I'm sure you could just park yourself in another section of park and you'll be just fine.
Totally.
All right, so that's Franklintown. Abby, take us to Chestnut Hill.
Yeah, I'm taking you guys to Pastorius Park. And similarly, Matt, a lot of the comments were about dogs, which I don't know. Have you guys ever been to this park? It's kind of tucked away in Chestnut Hill.
No, I've never been there.
It's beautiful. It's like a big pastoral looking kind of rolling hills landscape. There's a man-made lake in the middle and also like a little creek on the side.
This is in Philly?
This is in Philly. It's in Chestnut Hill. And it's actually crazy that like the trees there are so tall and beautiful. And it recently became a arboretum. Like it was designated an arboretum because those gorgeous trees and how many they have. But people don't like the dogs. I read a Yelp review that said, "This is not a dog park. Rude owners let their dogs run freely, often following far behind. Dogs growl, bark, jump on you, and the owners don't understand why you don't like it. Do I let my kids run up to you, slobber on you, and then scream in your face?" Answer, no. No, I don't. The law in the park is to have your dog on a leash at all times.
Amen. I'm with this guy.
Yeah, I like this review.
Yeah, leash your dog, man. There could be plenty of dogs in the park, but they got to be on a leash. And I know your dog's not allowed to lick my hand out of nowhere.
I know. It's so unconsensual. We don't want that.
No,
It is. It is. But guys, that's a whole nother episode.
That is a whole other episode.
I mean, some people's kids do be running up to you and screaming in your face, but that's another story.
Licking your leg.
Peeing in public.
Right.
You never know. But yeah, I think we've talked a lot about dogs on the podcast, and I'll say this park in particular, every time I've gone, there are a lot of dogs because it is just such like a wide open space that like feels ripe for like a nice gallop. But I think, you know, this park can be utilized for humans as well. And it's I think the real appeal of it is the beauty. I don't live near there, so I have to drive on Lincoln Drive, which has such beautiful views, especially, you know, I mean, I think any time of year, but in the fall. I love making the drive leisurely, of course. And the tall trees I mentioned earlier, many of them were actually planted there in the 1920s. And they are the same ones today, which is kind of why they got that Arboretum designation. It's a very like historical space. It's been a park since 1935. And it was the New Deal that actually got the money to develop the park. So I liked reading about the history. It was cool. But also in the today and now, I love going over to Chestnut Hill. There's such great places to check out around there after you go to the park. Chestnut Hill Coffee Co., Chestnut Hill Brewery, right down the street. Mm-hmm. Also, the Night Kitchen Bakery and Cafe. Go around the holidays. It's open till 6 p.m. every day. And they have really great like gingerbread men and Yule logs in the holidays, but it's also just like a bakery that's open a little later than usual. So definitely check it out. I'm a big fan of this, despite the dogs, despite the licking, all of that. I'll still check it out.
Nice.
Yeah, this is cool.
I will check that out.
Your recommendations are legit, Abby.
Thanks.
I do want to note too that like there's also other like chill activities that happen in Pastorius Park. Like I learned recently that Multiverse, like one of the local comic book stores, they host an annual silent book club in the park. So say if you're someone who has their reading list and is procrastinating, that person also may be me. If you need motivation to read, like it's a nice way to just like bring whatever you're reading, just bring out a blanket or a chair and chill with other people who are reading their own books and kind of like this group setting.
That sounds so fun.
The silence, of course, broken up by ruff, ruff, ruff.
It's all white noise. It's white noise.
Okay, so we were just over in Chestnut Hill, but let's take a ride down 76 and we're going down to Southwest Philly to the John Hines National Wildlife Refuge.
This is one of my favorite places to go birding. I first learned about this place about 5 years ago, like during COVID. Had no idea this existed at all in the city until some friends, drove me down for the first time, and I absolutely fell in love with it. It's, down in Eastwick, all along the marshlands by there, like nearby the airport. And it's such a place of beauty. And I always found it very peaceful, but apparently not everybody agrees. This one Google reviewer said, "This really was a special place a few years ago. Unfortunately, I would no longer classify this as a nature preserve, maybe more of a recreation area, as it's just entirely too flooded with people now. Only a few years ago, you could go and see giant snapping turtles, red-bellied turtles, tons of migratory bird species, foxes, etc. every time you went. Now, too many programs have brought too many people in, and a large influx of people now has most of the animals hiding and really can no longer be observed in the park. It's so crowded, it feels like you're in an amusement park line on the trails. I sincerely doubt this is what the founders of the park had in mind."
Do you think that's a fair criticism?
I want to know what time of day this person is going, because all the times I've been in, the trails aren't that wild. Like I will say, like I've gone on bird walks where like there was a large group, but I feel it staggers out and I feel like it becomes manageable. And other times I've gone on my own, it's really not too crowded. And a good chunk of my birding list I've seen at John Hines. So clearly they're not all hiding. I will say, to give this person some grace, I kind of feel that way about the Wissahickon, where like that, like when growing up, that was always like a nice quiet place for me to visit. And then now it feels like everybody knows about the Wiss, and it's a lot more active than it was compared to when I was a kid. And like I try to kind of avoid certain parts of the Wissahickon or going at all. And if I'm trying to search for something a little bit more quiet, I don't see that type of issue at John Hines. I don't know if anyone else has experienced that.
Yeah, I haven't seen that either. I think that the Wissahickon trails can get far more crowded, and John Hines is wider. You have those wider paths, so yeah, it's all right. I mean, you're going to get people. We're in the middle of a city.
I mean, okay, I'll play a little devil's advocate here because I think John Hines is a lot smaller, so I could see it getting crowded more easily than the Wiss, and 2, I did have a not awesome experience there once where I went and I think they must have like recently filled the like lake there with new fish, and many of them had died, which sometimes happens when you fill lakes and stuff. So I was walking around on like a day off of work on like a random Tuesday, and there was just like the whole area was lined with dead fish, and it smelled really bad, and it did ruin my vibe a little bit, I will say. But I think I might have been unlucky, so I don't want to write this place off entirely, but I completely understand where someone is coming from. And it was pretty busy, honestly, for a Tuesday. So I don't know. I can see where this person is coming from, but I'm always down to go back. And I love birding too. So I feel like, to Siani's point, there's give and take here.
I've never been.
Really?
We're dragging you down there. It's official.
Okay, so that's what I was going to say. What was the purpose, or what did the founders have in mind when they actually created this refuge?
it's an area that has been through a lot over the years. Like it, again, this is in marshland, which depleted over time due to all the development and farming with the early settlement. And then if you fast forward to like the 1950s, activists had to fight against plans for Gulf oil to dredge the Schuylkill River and just dump in the Tinicum Marsh, which I had no idea that was a thing. One of the activists was actually the founders of Natural Lands. So they won that battle. And then the community had to fight again, but this time against plans to extend the 95 through to marshland. So it's like time and time again, people are like fighting against the destruction of this area and eventually were able to preserve it to what we see today. And now people can enjoy this space. So it's like, I definitely agree that, we should be more mindful about how we treat these spaces so we don't unintentionally cause harm, whether driving animals away or dumping trash. But the other side we have to think about when we do see a lot of activity is the fact that people want to be in nature. People want access to the outdoors. And is the influx of people due to the fact about like a matter of access, like not just, I can drive down here, but, I'm only going here because I don't have access to these types of green spaces and waterways in my own neighborhood. So then everyone's being crowded in particular areas because other parts of the city have nothing like that. So I think that's something to keep in mind. Like when we're like, there's too many people here. It's like, but people want to be here. And that's how we can advocate for better things for our parks.
Amen. We'll have more 1-star reviews after the break. If you're looking for more ways to enjoy Philly this summer, check out the Independent Seaport Museum and Homebrewed events for the first ever Drink the Delaware Festival. The festivities kick off on Sunday, September 7th from 4 to 9 p.m. Enjoy samples of local beer, ciders, and spirits, and learn how water is used in the process of making these drinks. Because regardless of what's in your glass, we can all cheer for the people keeping our region's waterways clean. This event is for those 21 and up. Tickets start at $50 per person and are going fast. Purchase yours at phillyseaport.org/drinkthedelaware. One park area in the city that I'm starting to, that's starting to grow on me because of all of the exciting activities that you can do is FDR Park. Matt, you have that on your list. What was the 1-star review for this place?
Oh, there are several related to flooding, which is something we've talked about on the show before because they have this issue with drainage. There's a constant massive pool of water on the southern end of the park. This is mostly because of spill off from 95. So no matter whether it's raining or not, the pool of water is there. Cars have to go through it. They have to go into the skate park and around it. It's pretty intense. There's no plan to fix that. So people are pissed off about that. Understandable. Second complaint is about bathrooms, which I will endorse from personal experience.
Like a lack of bathroom.
There's a lack of bathrooms. And then there's some bathrooms by the ball fields, like porta potties. But as one reviewer said, the bathrooms by the ball fields, quote, might be one of the grossest things I have ever seen or smelled. And that is true. They are, even as porta potties go, they're pretty rough. But the most interesting 1-star review for FDR Park was about something I never thought about because I don't fish. And it was about the fish. Someone wrote, I can't believe how horrible it is at FDR Park. I went fishing, but there was no fish to catch. When I was a young kid, I went fishing there all the time, and I would catch so many fish. It was awesome. Even 15, 20 years ago, it was good fishing. I wish that Parks and Rec would clean out the water and restock the lakes with fish. They restock rivers and streams with trout and salmon and huge lakes with largemouth bass. Please, please, please help us. Please, we need to help save the water and fish in FDR Park. And I looked into it, and FDR Park's Meadow Lake is home to sunfish, snakeheads, and largemouth bass. It's also one of the few places in the area where anglers have been able to catch northern snakehead. So there has been a history of fish there, but according to this anecdotal evidence from an angry Google reviewer, there's been fewer fish recently.
I mean, I wonder if it's maybe a similar problem to what I witnessed in John Hines, where it's like stocking can be hard sometimes. And also like, water quality. They're also doing a ton of like renovations and stuff over in FDR Park too. So I wonder if they're like waiting to see how all these changes will affect like runoff and what's going into the water and like things like that. I don't know. I could see something like that maybe being the culprit here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the ecology changing a little bit for sure. And it might be overfished. I mean, there might be several factors involved.
Good point.
It's just a sad thing in so many of like the parks that like you just cannot interact with the water that you may have once upon a time. Like I know like with Tacony Creek Park, they'll host workshops on how to fish, but it's very much advised do not eat the fish there. And it's like, again, the pollution that's in so many of our streams that have killed off a lot of fish. And if they're still alive, they're not edible.
Yeah, that's true with, I think, most, if not all of the waterways in Philly. You might be able to fish, but don't eat it. But I will say there are some great programming at FDR. Some of my favorite like free events in the city are there. Like Bailar in FDR happens through October in the warm months, which is like a dancing. It's like a salsa and bachata night, which I love. Trenae, I feel like you've been to some stuff too that we've talked about.
Yeah, I was going to say the kayaking.
That's awesome.
All right. We have on the list over in West Philly, the Woodlands, and that's in Spruce Hill. And this is a little unusual to some. And tell us why, Abby.
Yeah, if you've been to the Woodlands, and Trenae, you did an episode out there a couple years back, but it is a cemetery. So it's a very large green space over in West, but the backdrop is, very old tombstones and walking paths, which, I would say it's usually not my thing, but there's a lot of programming at Laurel Hill as well, which is another cemetery in the area that's changed my mind a bit. And I think I'm opening up my horizons to this, but I would say some other people also have some hesitation with that. One Google review just said, "Don't come here at night, please."
Huh.
And I do have to say, it does technically close at dusk. So like truly don't go there at night unless there's programming or something. They do put on a lot of events.
Who's going to a cemetery in the middle of the night?
People are into it.
Now, I will say a classic Philly song is from Jill Scott, and she says, "Let's take a long walk around the park after dark."
Oh, well, not this
Find
one.
a spot for us to spark
She got that.
conversation.
Man, maybe it's about the Woodlands.
Don't do it.
But they do have some after hours cool events. Like they have like a runner's happy hour, and they do tours. There's a series right now they're doing called Not So Young Friends, where they like explain different things about the cemetery. There's one coming up that's like women you should know that are buried there, and then like the founders of the space, like William Hamilton, who was there in the late 1700s, and it was originally just like his house, and then it ended up becoming an urban cemetery in 1840, and it still is, and now it's a National Historic Landmark. So it's a very like historied space. This Yelp review though did scare me. It said it's technically 3 stars, but I had to include it because I feel like it's in the same vein of the last 1-star review we just heard. If you like cemeteries and being scared, this is the place for you. I like walking around, but sometimes people jump out from behind the graves and yell boo. Most of the time it's my friend Brian, but sometimes it's someone else. And I swear to God, if anyone does this to me, I don't care if it's Brian or not, I'm going to be so upset. Yeah. I'm going to be so upset. Yeah. Do not do this anywhere in Philadelphia, but definitely not with a cemetery backdrop.
The reaction might get kind of crazy.
I love that she still gave it, or he still gave it 3 stars.
3 stars, though. Yeah.
Brian's scaring the shit out of him, but it's still a pretty good experience.
But then other reviews we've talked about, someone saw a dog 1 star. So, I mean, the tier is just different for different parks, apparently.
So when we went to the Woodlands to do an interview, at first I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But then I saw people running and enjoying the space. So that that calmed my nerves a little bit.
Totally.
And it was the daytime and it was warm that day. And it was just peaceful, honestly.
Yeah, and there is beautiful like flowers and lots of foliage, and I mean the views are nice. I totally get, especially like you said in daytime, why people enjoy this space. It's a really large green space too in West Philly, and it's a little less busy than like Clark Park, which is also pretty close to there. So it is nice if you're looking for maybe something a little more secluded and a little spookier, you know?
And a lot of these cemeteries too were designed to be parks because that's all people had access to back then too. And I just think of places like Laurel Hill, that's just absolutely beautiful. Both cemeteries, Laurel Hill East and West. But it's just, the history is such a draw with all their historic tours and just the designs of some of these graves. It's just a great way for people to connect with these spaces. And so these people are also not forgotten because we have a history of seeing so many cemeteries just winding up being abandoned and not cared for. So it's a nice way to just draw people and connect with not just the public space themselves, but the people who are internally resting there. And I'm not too scared about cemeteries. I learned how to ride a bike in a cemetery because that was the safest place I had access to do that. So I'm all for using these as recreation spaces respectfully.
Love that. Siani, on your list, you have Fairmount Park. Who was hating on Fairmount Park?
Oh my gosh, this review killed me, especially the first half. So it said, this is not what I call a park. Maybe because we are French and expect something else.
Oh,
here we go.
Okay.
All right.
So the rest, if we were to, give them some grace, they said, surrounded by roads and highways and railways, very noisy, very dirty, unbelievable. People throw everything everywhere. Not a pleasant walk. Fortunately, some flowering trees brighten it all up. So they sprinkled a little nicety at the end.
I will say the trash is horrendous. I agree with that. We need more trash cans around. And for them to be changed frequently.
Yes. And people, when they go to a park, should take out everything they bring in. So we'll give the French folks, we accept that criticism. But nothing else nice to say but the flowering trees.
Talk about the views. Like when you see that skyline, it is just so beautiful, especially on Belmont Plateau. My earlier years growing up as a little girl, we did cross-country races in Fairmount Park, and my mom ran in some of those races. And so when we talk about, throughout this whole episode, we were talking about our connections to the park, not just for the beauty, the scenery, the activations that happen in these parks and getting people outside from different neighborhoods together for good reasons. That's why I love our park system so much.
Yeah. And I feel like I would like to know where exactly they went in Fairmount as well, because it's so big. And I feel like when I think about Fairmount, I think about all the amazing things that are there, like Shofuso, the Japanese garden, and all of the cherry blossoms around there. I think about like the Horticultural Society. I think about the fact that like there's a rugby pitch out there that one of the few in the city, my rugby team, Philadelphia Rugby Football Club, our home field is there, right next to the Please Touch Museum, another great museum for kids. So I feel like Fairmount houses so many wonderful things. Yes, there's trash. That's also like a citywide problem. I don't think that is just a Fairmount Park problem.
Absolutely.
Forbidden Drive is spectacular.
Oh my gosh, the views.
Going mountain biking in certain trails in Fairmount Park, you do not hear highway. You do not hear the fact that so much humanity is so close to you. You really feel transported. So I absolutely reject the idea that it's just noisy everywhere. That is absolutely not true.
I just want to know what the French parks are like if this is not considered a park. Because listen, the word on the street is Paris isn't what it's made up to be. So I'll start a war with the French right now. Let battle of the parks.
All right. We got one more review for this episode. I'm just going to get right into it. This is what the review says. I guess I can't complain if it's free, but don't believe that it closes at 6 p.m. because they actually turn you away at 5, which is what the worker there did. So yeah.
Oh.
Anybody know what this is?
Did this person end it with so yeah?
So yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So there's that.
I'm just already impressed that there's a worker there. You know what I mean? There's someone to turn you away.
Yeah, you should be thanking them. It's 5 stars.
No, literally.
So where is this?
Guys, this is at the historic Smith Playground.
What?
No.
Oh
This
my
person
God.
is a straight hater. This playground and attraction is free. The other amenities are free, and they're great. Let's go down the list. 1, they have the historic giant wooden slide. This is not just for kids. This is for adults too. Just take one of those potato sacks and just slide down. I guarantee you it's a good time. There's this huge mansion, which a lot of our parks have, these huge mansions. And starting in the basement level, there is like a little roadway for kids to pretend that they're driving cars. It's so cute. And it has a street light.
Yes.
So they can learn
cute.
about red, yellow, and green. Go upstairs. There is a train they can climb all over. There's toys all over this house. And then outside, again, huge playground. They've created stations for multiple abilities. You know, not every child is the same. And then out on their yard, you can host your kid's birthday. My nephew had his fifth birthday, and it was like a motorcycle theme. It was so much fun.
Aww.
The whole family, we had pizza and candy, and the kids were running around. And then Smith Playground hosts Kidchella, a music festival just for the kids. It is amazing. February, they do a annual Leaders and Legends of Philadelphia exhibit, which focuses on the contributions of Black leaders and figures in the city's history and culture. So whoever turned you away, I don't know who that person was, but come back. It is literally one of my favorite places to bring the kids in Philadelphia.
And it's free. It's all free.
And it's free.
How do you give something 1 star when it's free? And if you've never been on that slide, it's unlike anything else. So cool. My kids have made so many friends just by waiting in line to get down that slide. And then they go right back up. They got their potato sack and then right down the big wooden slide.
This park is so prominent too. It was even featured in like Abbott Elementary, right? Like it's such a hot spot, especially for like, you know, the kiddos. And I think it's a really another great feature of Fairmount Park.
I have so many fond memories there. Just like, again, like as a kid, if I'm thinking about growing up in Philly, that is such a prominent aspect of childhood, and just running around in there and just having such a wide imagination, and it's just so innocent. And I think the last time I was there was probably like middle school, when had some family, a bunch of cousins from Puerto Rico came up, and that was one of the places we had to take them, and we're just running around the whole place. So it's
so sweet.
It's a place of fond memories, and they're really trying to preserve that. I saw that a group of kids who are regularly at the park, they're working on a time capsule project, and part of that, they're interviewing seniors about their memories of childhood in Philadelphia. So it's just a full circle moment of just, you know, embracing childhood and a shared space.
I love that. Okay, so I was listening to a lot of our conversation today, and it seems like based off these 1-star reviews, these haters, they really want to just get involved. And one way you can do that is sharing this episode with a friend. But 2, really most importantly, the city also has a volunteer portal that will send you some ideas of where you can volunteer. And if you're complaining about the lack of fish and the flooding and all the dogs, do something about it.
Right. Right. Just like the Smiths did back in 1899 when they donated the property that became Smith Playground. This city is built on the backs of people who, got up and did something and didn't just sit in front of their keyboards and complain about stuff like dogs and kids and crowds and fish.
Just be a better neighbor.
And you can become one of our neighbors by going to membership.citycast.fm. All right, Abby, Matt, and Siani, thank you so much for breaking down these 1-star reviews.
This was fun, guys. Thanks.
We're taking you to the Tinicum next.
Thanks, Trenae.
All right, that's all for us today here on CityCast Philly. If you enjoyed this episode, share this with a friend. Rate the show, leave us a review, and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to sign up for our morning newsletter, Hey Philly, to learn more about what else Philly's talking about. And like I mentioned before, don't forget you can support this show and get great perks by becoming a CityCast Philly neighbor at membership.citycast.fm. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Bye.